I am ashamed of my city. Healthy Holly scandal sends shockwaves through Baltimore. It's not just Healthy Holly. It's not even just the expanding scandal over the Baltimore mayor and her children's book business has everyone from shopkeepers to bank presidents, insiders to breakfast table pundits abuzz over what it says about Baltimore, how it works and for whose benefit. That Pew. There seems to be two basic groups in town, the power people and the everyday people. The power people, while they're being ignored, he said, the power people are taking care of themselves. It was just over 3 weeks ago when that Pew was among the members of the board of the University of Maryland Medical System who had contracts with the system. In her case, a no-bid deal for it to buy $500,000 worth of her self-published Healthy Holly books to hand out to schools. Since then, seemingly every day has brought news of another individual, business or organization found to have purchased books or given money to Pew's Healthy Holly LLC. Among them Kaiser Permanente, Associated Black Charities, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield, the MA. I am still shell-shocked, said Joseph Haskins Jr., President and CEO of Harbor Bank of Maryland. It seems to be it's almost like it's growing legs, or tentacles. The fallout has been equally swift. Pew resigned from Pew, a Democrat, faces an uncertain political future. Up for re-election, Haskins has contributed to Pew's past campaigns, but future solicitations will be weighed against the recent news. If I had this knowledge beforehand, the answer would have been a clear no, he said. But I didn't have this. As someone who chairs his bank's board, Haskins is particularly disturbed by how multiple directors received lucrative contracts to provide everything from pest control to insurance services for hospitals in the system. The insurance company. One of the things we say to our board members, you can't get on the board and expect to get preferential treatment, a better rate on your CD or mortgage, Haskins said. Integrity and the Maryland system should be investigated. Some residents reminded daily of the crime, poverty, and other ailments that have long plagued Baltimore. Are rankled that Pew's attention seemingly was diverted to her private business rather than that of the public that elected her. It was the deliberate attempt to negotiate money for business favors while the city was suffering, said Kay Whitehead, Associate Professor of Communications at Loyola University Maryland and a WEAA radio talk show host. Whitehead said she had admired what she viewed as Pew's political prowess, her ability to play the game, negotiate and get what she wanted for Baltimore. Which makes it all the more. She wonders what kind of advice Pew has been getting, particularly when she opted for in which she both apologized for the book sales but also seemingly introduced a Healthy Holly brand extension into baby clothing. Whitehead showed for even casual observers of the city's politics, much of what's transpired just seems baffling. Oh, it came up at the brunch table, said Jessie Gels, who manages the B. Willow Plant store on O'Donnell Street in Canton. As someone who used to work as a teacher's aide and well knows the pressing needs of so many classrooms, she can't believe Pew's books were sent unordered to the Baltimore School District and now thousands of copies are sitting unused in a warehouse. It feels like her focus isn't in the right space, and her heart isn't in the right place, Gels said. Next door, at the 62-year-old TV repair business he took over from his father, Donald Budreski is just angry. They ought to put her in jail, he groused. They make so much it's terrible, Budreski said. I am ashamed of Meg Baird, who is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, heard it often when she moved to Canton several months ago. You're moving to Baltimore? Now living a couple doors from the store she works at, the Lucky Knot, Baird said she feels her adopted city just can't catch a break. But she's not going. They've always had faith, love, and hope for Baltimore, she said. Ask Munir Bahar how he is, and he'll respond tiredly, like everyone else in this city. Bahar runs the sea. People are dying. I just lost two. You write a book and that's it? He said of Pew. Where's the opening? Bahar also is frustrated by his fellow citizens, who fail to rise up and demand better from their mayor. We should be at City Hall demanding she resign right now, he said. No, more of this, more, the activist who previously directed the community center at St. Francis Academy. They'll testify for Hopkins to get their guns, they'll sit on boards and it's very lucrative for them, he said. The everyday people, perhaps, he said, the current anger will prompt Baltimoreans to get off our butts. Maybe this will remind people there's still so much to pay attention to, Moore said. Baltimoreans United in Leadership Development, the coalition of religious and community groups, says what the city needs now is a unifying vision for addressing long-standing problems: the relentless violence, the woes that beset its schools, housing, neighborhoods, and well-being. Whatever we come up with together, it outlasts whoever is in public office, however long they stay, said the revelation. Christina Paglinawan said Build leaders held an emergency phone call as the Healthy Holly scandal grew to discuss what they could do. They've started reaching. Rachel Brooks, a Build organizer, said developing a citywide strategy is a way to move forward, not to downplay the crisis we're in at all, and address the collective grief she has sensed in Baltimore even before the current scandal. We grieve of what this beautiful city can be and once was, Brooks said. But I think there's a similar optimism is what developer Toby Bozzuto says keeps him focused on his projects in the city. From getting financed, obviously, it's a difficult time, the president and CEO of the Bozzuto Group said of the mayoral turmoil. When there is disrupt, we're going to continue to do our thing, said Bozzuto, whose company developed the luxury Anthem House apartments in Locust Point. It expects to he plans to prove wrong the friends who wonder why he builds here and tell him, the city is broken. He acknowledges that you build, he said, for the city you want.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.